Hey guys, it's Tom Box here. I am here to deliver you a deck profile for hire. Well, no, this is a for hire deck profile, but Konami seems to like to reword things around, especially to match the pun. So in that case, hey guys, I'm Tom Box for hire. Well, I'm not really for hire. You guys can usually not afford my rates anyway. But regardless, let's talk about this deck profile. So this is a semi-budget deck profile because some of these guys for hire have a bit of a price tag on them, mainly because they are short printed. And even within my case, I only pulled 3 of these guys, so that was pretty difficult. And also, Mayhem for hire is also a short printed card. And if you really want to play this deck, why is it semi-budget? Is because of those short printed cards. You don't want to play this deck on a full budget, because if you're not playing beats, you're not playing for hire. You're playing a pretty low tier deck that most people probably could defeat you. So semi-budget, because there's a couple of short print cards in here. And without further ado, let's actually talk about the decks themselves. So the for hire deck is an aggro deck. You want to spam the board. Plays very similar to Yosenju. Each of the monsters, for the level 4 lower ones, they can special summon additional monsters out from the hands that are for hire. And aside from that, all the higher level monsters, they have some sort of effects when they're special summoned. But as for the lower level ones, when a monster is special summoned while they're on the field, then they can trigger their secondary effect. And both effects are once per turn. And it's hard once per turn, so even if you put an additional copy of it, you won't gain the effect. So there you have it. So it's a bit of an aggro deck. You can actually spam your entire hand in one go, very similar to how Yosenju used to play. And from there you can move on to actually performing big OTK combos, but you do have some of the better boss monsters. These boss monsters are much better than Yosenju bosses because they offer negation effects protection, so even if you establish the entire board, you are a bit more protected. And you know what, without further ado, let's just go into the deck profile. I can go over it as I go. So, starting off with the 3 cards that you have to play, and the most expensive man for hire, we have Beat the Bladesman for hire. So this is the warrior, although they are all a bit of a furry, if you know what I mean. So this one is your searcher. If you normal summon this card, you get the special summon effect to bring out another guy. But when you do special summon while this card is on the field, you get to add another monster for hire. And most likely it's going to be one of your boss monsters, because Rafali is just really good. I'm calling him Rafali, Rafal. You guys know who I'm talking about. This is the dragon. But this guy, you have to play it, because without him, you don't have the consistency. And luckily it's a warrior, so you can roll to this card, because you want to see this card in your opening hand as soon as possible. And since their effects are once per turn, if you can maintain the board, then that's when your advantage start rolling. Much slower compared to Sky Striker, but you're not playing Sky Striker, you're playing for hire. But yeah, so this is a very mandatory card, most likely searching the big boss monster. Next up, we have the Beast lineup. We have your Marksman for hire, Donpa. So Donpa is your face-up popper. So if you special summon while there's another card, you use it as a face-up popper. Now, I want to talk about Donpa and Recon at the same time. So Recon is your other for hire beast. They are your wins. Everyone kind of shares a different attribute, and because they have different attributes, it's very annoying, because you're susceptible to both Golden Match and you're susceptible to Rivalry of Warlord. So Recon and Donpa are the best ways of actually clearing out the card. Luckily, as long as you can actually get the target on, you'll be fine. The moment you're able to target, you'll be able to destroy the card. So it says destroy it rather than destroy the target. So you got that benefit going for you. Now, speaking of Donpa, Donpa is your face-up popper. That's your Marksman for hire, which is the exact opposite of Mermail's, because Mermail's Marksman pops face downs. And this is your actual set popper, which is the Scout for hire. And they're actually quite important because they are the level 2s. The level 2s lets you actually put out additional damage thanks to our favorite, raccoon, Sandayu. Next up, we have Seal, the Strategist for hire. Level 4, Beast Warrior. Kind of even thought about playing Tenki to actually dig him out, because the point of this entire deck is that you want a hand full of monsters. As long as you don't get Veilord or Impermanence, you can actually go through and just kill your opponent. That's it. That's why I'm playing a lot of cards to actually stop those cards. I'm just playing red reboots and all this stuff. You'll see in a bit. I just want to push through and just one-shot them, because then they can't come back. I mean, that's the end of that. So Seal, if you use Seal, why am I only playing 2 copy of this guy? It's because he retrieves a monster from the graveyard back to the hand when you special summon something while he's on the board. Yeah, that's basically it. Triple Bravo. This guy's a reptile for hire, he's a fighter for hire, and he's a 19 beat stick. He gives everyone 500 when he's on the field when you special summon. That's it. That's all he does. But that extra 500 could mean an extra 2,500 damage if you got a full board. So now let's go into some of the bosses. Starting with Wiz, the Sage for hire, our Spellcaster for hire. Not too bad, 2,800 booty on defense. Why is this good? Well, you gain life points when you special summon her, but the secondary effect is that you can discard a for hire card, and then you can negate the activation of a spell or trap card. So this is your spell trap negator, so you perhaps want to keep at least 1 card in your hand for her effect. But yeah, that's actually not too bad, because you got a spell trap negator right here. And if you actually summon both of them onto the field somehow, you can play an overlay into like a big eye or something. Dyna, play 1 copy of Dyna. Dyna's actually not exactly an ideal boss. He's a hero for hire. He's a beast warrior as well, but he's level 6, so you can't even use Tenki to search him out. When this guy special summon, he rips apart your opponent's graveyard, which makes him one of the more ideal cards when it comes to breaking a true Draco deck. Or you can use this to break even a Brandish Maiden or Sky Strikers, because you can take out their spells. And when you take out their spells, they become a lot slower. So they're going to be forced to negate this guy regardless. And I'm planning on playing 1 copy because I don't want to see him. Most of these higher level monsters, the Wiz, they don't carry special summon effects with them. They are not able to bring out more monsters, as they have their summoned effect and they have their lingering effect. So for the lingering effect, this guy's actually not too bad. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target for higher monsters for attack, except for this one, so he's kind of mediocre. But like the other one, like this one, has like the spell negation. And our main boss monster is Rafal, the champion for hire, and he is definitely the champion. He's the 28 beat stick, and on top of being a 28 beat stick, he excavates cards on top of the deck, and you get to add a card to your hand. I think you can add any card to your hand, so I'm just going to quickly read this card here. Excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of monsters for hire. Oh god. You control with different names, except for Rafali. So in other words, you can probably excavate 4 cards around there. If you excavate 4 cards, that's not too bad. And if you do, add one of them to your hand. Also, shuffle the rest back into the deck. And if your opponent activates a monster effect, you have a quick effect of discarding a card for hire, and bam, negate that card. So you have a monster effect negator as well. So he's just very good in general, and he's your beat stick. And that kind of covers up the entire monster lineup. What about my spell lineup? How do you actually play a budget spell lineup? So I'm starting off with Rhoda because this came in the pack as well, and you use this to get beat. I think this is your most important spell in my opinion, but that's just me. Next, I have Mayhem for hire. This is a 3-of. It's a Monster Reborn. It's a quick play Monster Reborn, which is something I really, really like. So target a monster for hire in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. It's just an additional push. You can use this to get access to your extra deck mainly. That's just my opinion. Then you can perhaps chump block something. But the main thing is the monster is not negated, so you can gain additional effects if you really need them. And I believe you can also use this card to proc off your current monsters for hire on board. So if you do open a board, you go into an Xyz or a Link, and then you put something in the graveyard, you set this card, you can reproc everything once more. So you can actually use this card to gain advantage, and that's why you play 3 copies of this. Unfortunately, you can only activate 1 copy per turn. They have Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn, you just need to revive cards, because there's no generic way of bringing cards back, except for like a seal. And because you're playing an OTK variant, you gotta play Triple Desires, because Triple Desires, you just want to go in there, you just want to kill your opponent, you want extra cards and gain access to those extra cards to prevent your opponent from taking you out. And because of that, I'm playing Triple Call by the Grave, because Call by the Grave can help me stop the hand traps from going off. If your opponent plays back row, like they're playing Alter Guys, you can Twin Push them off first, which is okay. And if you do throw a card into the graveyard, you can just revive it, so it's actually not too bad. Now I'm playing a pair of double summons. A lot of people kind of don't agree with this, but I am playing budget. I'm not playing like super expensive. If you think pot of Desires is not a budget card. Well, I think it is a budget card in my opinion, mainly because this is like a tin variant, and tin variant, if you didn't buy the tin, then that's your own fault. Well, we have the double summons. Why? If you get effect failed or impermanence, you lose that summoning effect. Usually you get hit on the summoning because it actually really hurts. It stops your whole line of play. It just breaks the first chain link, and then that's it. Double summon would be like they burn their one card, their impermanence. So then you play double summon, you drop the second monster, you keep going. Beat would still not go off, but hey, you can at least continue your chain. If you already have a Revali in hand that you're going to drop anyway, you get the excavation. This is just a combo continue, and if they can't stop you from punching them, because usually you can output at least about maybe close to 8,000 damage just with your board, especially if you go into your extra deck, it just works out. But that's why I'm playing double summon, but this might not be the right choice. You can play other variations. You can play reasoning because it's really hard to guess the level. It's super random, but like people are most likely going to guess 4 unless they really hate beat, then they'll call 3, or they don't want to deal with a big beat 6, they'll call 8. So that's another option. You can play reasoning too. I'm also playing 1 Upstart Goblin just because I just want to gain a bit more control. I just want to play a smaller deck because I'm cheap. And next we have Red Reboot. Mainly because if you have traps in the back, I don't want to deal with your traps at all, and I want to turn off all your traps altogether. So yeah, Red Reboot. And I can just activate from hand, so this is like a hand trap. And finally, I have Training for Hire for all your training needs. I got everything from guns, missiles, everything. So yeah, this is Training for Hire. Basically, when I face up a for hire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, well, you get to target one of those monsters, special summon a monster for hire from your deck that's a level lower. So yeah, but then this is also hard once per turn. I kind of wish this wasn't hard once per turn. It would have made the deck so much better, and people would actually have to fear this deck a bit more. But that's it for the main deck. We can go into the extra deck. I don't have a side deck for this because I don't know what I would actually side. So let's go into the Xyz first, starting off with number 64, Sandayu. If you're able to get into Sandayu, you should be in a really good position to OTK your opponent, mainly because the strongest monster is likely going to be 28 or 25, and because of that, if your opponent has an even stronger monster, even better. You get to generate that token, you get to hit them really hard. So this is 1,000 plus that extra monster. It just works out really, really well. And usually it just takes a Recon and a Dawn Pod to make this guy. So make sure you play your zones correctly, because you don't want to lock out your zones in the improper way. Next we have Ragnar Zero. Why Ragnar Zero? Well, Ragnar Zero for one is cheap, but also it's very good against Brandish Maidens. Because of her quick effect, you can actually pop off Kagari pretty easily, so leaving her on the board isn't exactly the worst choice. If you can somehow protect her, that'd be even better, but protecting her is not exactly an easy feat, especially when she just kind of sits there. But if they go into Kagari or Shizuku, you can. If you have Shizuku, I believe you can pop your own cards, because there's a difference in the attack from the original attack, and you still get that one draw. Perhaps you want that one draw, maybe not, but it's just an option to actually get there. Next we have Gaga Cowboy. This is a specific choice for burning your opponent in time. Because of the new time rules, a lot of people kind of went back into Cowboy, and Cowboy is really cheap too, so it's a cheap way to actually take out your opponent. And for level 4s in the deck, I believe I have 5. 2 of the reptiles and 3 of the reptiles and 2 of the strategists. Next I have 1 King of the Feral Imps. I don't know why I'm playing this, mainly because you can search out the dude, but you are losing out a bit of damage. But if you're doing a strategic play where you want to maximize your hand and you have a double summon, then this is one thing that you can aim to try for. Now for another rank 2, I have Javelins. It's just there to reduce something to 0. Break Sword, if you somehow get 2 beats on the field and you need to clear a monster or something, this is one of the better ways to do it. As for beat sticking, you know, the Utopia package, you can use it to take out weakened dragon targets like, what's his face? That big ass Falcon, Ultimate Falcon. And I have 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal just for fun text. Now, in terms of what I have here, I have Underclock Taker. You're likely to go into this and make sure that you have your biggest monster usually summoned out in like the zones that are right below the extra monster zone, just so that you can actually maximize on Underclock Taker. Because maybe you have like a beat, maybe you have like some other for higher monsters, but if you can put a 28 beat stick here and then you can reduce one of your opponent's monsters by 28, that's a lot of extra damage that's going through. So that's just like 38 just from the Underclock Taker and the Rafal. Next we have a bit of a cheap Nightmare package. We have Cerberus and Phoenix just because they just work out very nicely. They can remove threats, they can remove back row, and that's why they're there. And they're easy pulls and don't cost a lot to actually put into this deck. And time for Decode Talker. I'm playing a pair of Decode Talker. Again, you want that extra damage, and because you want the extra damage, you should be having your arrows pointed in the correct way. So if you're going to go into Decode Talker, make sure that when you go into Decode, you have monsters already pointed to. So you have your big monsters right behind it, and then you use your small ones to actually make Decode. Usually making Decode is actually a bit pricey, but you can use like Monster Reborn to actually get there, so that actually helps out as well. But why am I playing a pair of Decode? Because there's no cheap no cheap Link 3s. You can't play Unicorn because that's expensive. There's no Griffin access for you. Anyways, let's go into the last monster. That's semi-budget, Saryuja. I don't know why you would play this deck without Saryuja. I know he's completely out of budget. So if you can't play this guy, you can play Boar Fire. You can play this Troy Nightmare Mermaid because I am actually out of options for budget options that are high rank. Most of our high link monsters are very expensive. Firewall, Borreload, all of them, the entire package. There's just none that is cheap. You can play Gaia. Yeah, no, not even Gaia. Okay, so for a quick combo here, hopefully that I don't mess it up. Let's start off with whatever we have here. This is actually really ideal. This is probably going to go into the OTK with the Raccoon Sandayu. Why are these two cards here? Well, this is going second hand anyway, and these are the cards to keep you going if you get stopped. Okay, so to start things off, I'm going to normal summon out Bravo. Remember to use this effect near the end because it's optional when you want to boost everything on the field, and you don't want to boost when there's only two. So when Bravo Summon uses effect, you get the special summon out Beat. Why am I doing in this order? This is just mainly to protect Beat from getting negated early on. And with Beat Summon, I'm not going to use this effect yet. Just remember to remind yourself to use like all the effects available. So from here, I'm going to use Beat's effect and summon out Donpa. And from here, Donpa will trigger off the Beat, and Beat will now add a card. If my opponent tries to use, say, like an Ash Blossom or anything, use Call by the Erase for that and just keep going. So, add a Rafal. Now I'm going to use Donpa's effect to summon. I'm going to summon out Recon right over here. Why am I spacing it out? Because I want the extra monster zone available so that I can use Underclock Taker if he has something. And when I summon out Recon, Donpa will activate. If there is something face up I need to clear, I'll just go kill it. And now I use Recon's effect and summon out Rafal. If there's a set card I want to pop, then Recon will do her job. And next up, Bravo will activate finally and boost everyone here by 500 attack until the end of the turn. So from here, Rafal will activate as well because it was special summon, so we'll excavate 4. It's not bad. I'll probably take the Red Reboot or the Twin Twisters. Red Reboot, if there's back row still, then I can just take the Red Reboot and just take care of the issue. I don't have exactly an extra monster in hand, so he's unable to discard, so that's actually a bit unfortunate. But it's okay. From here, you can overlay these two, and you go into Sandayu. Detach one for Sandayu, summon out the token. Now this token is taking the highest attack monster, which would be Rafal. So Rafal is at 33, so you have a 33 token, a 33 beat stick, a 1000 beat stick, a I think this is at 17, and you have a 24. So that's definitely more than enough for a game. If you've been popping everything along the way, I think this is how you achieve game. So that's all I got for this deck profile. I know it's a bit of a budget deck profile, and I know there is that Saryuja in there that is a bit off-putting, but even as a budget deck, I think it's very useful to actually have it. Mainly because you get to dig 4 cards and you get that special summon and you can push for higher damage. And especially if you do get the Saryuja out and you can summon out the big guys out from the hand, that is super beneficial, and you actually get to play a more of a control-based game rather than just straight aggro. So that's it for this deck profile, guys. If you guys enjoyed this deck profile, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit that subscribe button. This is probably the only time I'll do a budget deck profile with this stuff. And maybe I'll do some fun games with it, but it needs to be like equal tier decks, because if it's not equal tier, it's going to be a bit one-sided bodying. But aside from that, until next time, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.